Welcome back to Talk About It in English, where we learn to talk about real life. Today, we are going to build a party simulator, and you will have exactly 5 seconds to answer the hardest question in the English language. Picture yourself holding a plastic cup in a noisy living room when a friendly stranger smiles right at you and asks, "So, what do you do?" A loud timer ticks down in your head, your stomach drops with embarrassment and social panic, and because you only know how to say, "I am a company employee," the stranger forces a polite smile, says, "Oh, cool," and the conversation dies completely.
I used to ruin my introductions this exact same way, by giving my official job title, which meant nobody understood what my job actually was, and I would just stand there sweating in the awkward silence.
By the end of this lesson, you will have a simple 2-sentence action-first formula that replaces your boring job title with the reality of your day, keeping any conversation alive. We have all been in that situation. You are at a social event, maybe a friend's birthday party, a networking event, or even just chatting with someone new at a coffee shop. The conversation is flowing, and then they ask the inevitable question, "So, what do you do?"
It is such a simple question, but it causes so much panic for English learners. When you are studying for a test or reading a textbook, the answer seems very easy. The textbook tells you to say, "I am a teacher," or "I am a doctor." But in the modern working world, jobs are rarely that simple.
Exactly. Most of us do not have jobs that can be perfectly described with one single noun, and when learners try to use a noun to describe their job, they often fall into a massive conversational trap. They say things like, "I am an office worker," or "I am an administrator," or "I am a logistics coordinator."
I remember when I first moved abroad, my official job title was Junior Operations Analyst. Whenever I met someone new at a party and they asked what I did, I would proudly say, "I am a Junior Operations Analyst." And every single time, I watched their eyes glaze over. They would nod slowly, say something like, "Oh, wow, that sounds complicated." And then they would excuse themselves to go get another drink. It was devastating. I felt so boring.
But you are not boring, and your job is not boring. The problem is the grammar structure you were using. The structure "I am a noun" is a conversation killer. When you give someone a technical noun, you are giving them a wall. They cannot climb over it. They don't know what an operations analyst does on a Tuesday morning, so they have no follow-up questions to ask you.
That's the real secret about small talk. Native speakers do not ask, "What do you do?" because they want to read your resume. They're not checking your employment status. They're asking the question because they want to find a conversational hook. They want to find common ground. They're desperately looking for something in your answer that they can react to.
Yes, they want a door to walk through, not a wall. When you say, "I am an office worker," the other person thinks, "Okay, you work in an office. I have absolutely nothing else to say about that." The conversation loses all its momentum, and you both feel that terrible, heavy awkwardness.
It's even worse when learners use titles that don't really translate well. A lot of learners will say, "I am a company employee." To a native English speaker, that sounds incredibly robotic. It sounds like you are hiding something or like you just don't want to talk to them. It creates distance instead of connection.
So, we need to completely eliminate the "I am a noun" structure from your casual introductions. We need to stop talking about your job title and start talking about your daily reality. We need to use verbs instead of nouns. Verbs describe action, and action is interesting. Action is what people can relate to. This brings us to the first part of our action first formula.
I love this formula because it immediately takes the pressure off. You don't have to worry about translating your complicated job title anymore. You just have to focus on what you actually do with your hands and your brain every day.
The first sentence of the formula starts with a fantastic phrase. Basically, I handle. Let me say that again. Basically, I handle.
Let's break that down because every single word in that phrase is doing important social work. The word basically is a wonderful conversation softener. When you start your answer with basically, you're telling the listener, I'm going to make this simple for you. It shows that you are considerate and it sets a casual, relaxed tone.
It removes the formality. If you just say, I handle customer service, it sounds a little bit stiff, like you're in a job interview. But when you say, basically, I handle customer service, it sounds like you're talking to a friend over coffee. It's a tiny word, but it completely changes the social dynamic.
And then we have the verb handle. I handle. Why do we use handle instead of do or make?
That is a great question. A lot of learners will say, basically, I do the marketing, or basically, I make the schedules. Do and make are fine, but they are very generic. The verb handle is much more dynamic. When you say you handle something, it means you manage it, you take care of it, and you take responsibility for it. It makes you sound highly capable and professional, but it is still a very casual, everyday word.
I handle means that if there is a problem, you are the one who solves it. It gives your job weight and importance without sounding arrogant.
Exactly. So you start with, basically, I handle, and then you just add your main area of responsibility. Let us look at some real-world examples. If you work in human resources, you do not need to say, I am an HR specialist. You can simply say, basically, I handle employee training.
If you work in retail or at a store, instead of saying, I'm a retail associate, which sounds very formal, you can say, basically, I handle the inventory and the store displays.
If you work in tech, instead of saying, I am a software engineer level 2, you can say, basically, I handle the back-end code for our mobile app. Notice how much more engaging these answers are. You are giving the listener a mental picture of you doing an action. They can imagine you writing code or setting up a store display or training new employees.
And because you gave them an action, they can ask a follow-up question. If I say, basically, I handle employee training, the stranger at the party can say, oh, that's interesting. Is it hard to train new people? Or do you do the training online or in person? You have given them a conversational hook.
Before we move on to the second part of the formula, we need to get this first phrase into your muscle memory. Knowing the grammar in your head is useless when the party music is loud and a stranger is staring at you. You need this phrase to stay in your mouth.
This is where we practice shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to the natural rhythm of the phrase and repeat it exactly how you hear it, paying attention to how the sounds link together.
Let us look at the pronunciation of basically I handle. First, the word basically. A lot of learners overpronounce every syllable. They say base-ic-a-ly, but native speakers completely drop the letter A in the middle. We compress it into 3 syllables. Basically. Basically.
Try saying that out loud right now wherever you are. Basically. Notice how the first syllable is the strongest. Basically.
Next, we link the word I to the word handle. Basically, I handle. Notice how the I flows directly into the soft H sound of handle. Basically, I handle.
I'm going to say the full phrase 3 times. I want you to listen and then repeat it during the pause. Focus on matching my exact melody and relaxed tone. Do not sound robotic. Sound like you are holding a plastic cup at a party. Ready? Basically, I handle.
Let us look at another example. Imagine you work in IT support. Instead of saying, I am a tech support agent, you say, basically, I handle network issues, and it involves a lot of troubleshooting angry phone calls.
Again, brilliant. You have given them the big picture with the word handle, and then you gave them the messy, relatable reality with involves a lot of. The listener can picture you sitting at a desk, wearing a headset, dealing with a frustrated customer. They feel empathy for you.
Let us do one more. Imagine you are an architect. You could just say, I am an architect. That's a noun people actually understand, but it is still a wall. It's hard to reply to. Instead, you say, basically, I handle commercial building design, and it involves a lot of staring at blueprints all day.
That is so much more visual. It invites the listener into your world. If you're enjoying learning the real English that native speakers actually use, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss our weekly topics. We want to help you talk about your real life with confidence.
Now, we need to master the pronunciation of the second sentence because it has some of the most classic connected speech in the English language. When a native speaker says, it involves a lot of, we do not pronounce 5 separate words. We link them all together into one continuous stream of sound.
Let us break it down. The S at the end of involves is pronounced like a Z, involves. And that Z sound links directly to the letter A in the word involves.
Next, the word lot connects to the word of. In American English, the T in lot becomes a soft, quick D sound, which we call a flap T. It sounds like lot of.
And the F in the word of is pronounced like a V, of. So when you put the whole chunk together, it sounds like this. Involves a lot of. Involves a lot of.
It feels very strange to say it like that when you first try it, because your brain wants to read the individual letters. But you have to trust your ears, not your eyes. English is about the music of the sentence, not the spelling of the words.
Let us practice just that chunk. I will say it slowly, and I want you to shadow me. Really push that Z sound into the letter A. Here we go. Involve the lot of. Involves a lot of. Involves a lot of.
Great. Now let's add a daily task to the end of it. Let us use answering emails, because almost everyone has to do that. Listen and shadow.
It involves a lot of answering emails. It involves a lot of answering emails.
Now let's use sitting in meetings.
It involves a lot of sitting in meetings. It involves a lot of sitting in meetings.
Now we're going to do our deep shadowing practice. We're going to put the entire 2-sentence formula together. I'm going to give you 3 different professional profiles. I will speak the full introduction, and I want you to shadow me. We're building the muscle memory so that when you're under pressure, your mouth remembers what to do, even if your brain panics.
Do not just mumble this quietly. Say it out loud with a confident, relaxed voice. Imagine you have good posture, you're smiling, and you're totally comfortable with the question.
Profile number 1. You work in marketing. Listen and repeat. Basically, I handle digital marketing, and it involves a lot of looking at data.
Let us try that one more time. Basically, I handle digital marketing, and it involves a lot of looking at data.
Profile number 2. You work in education as a teacher. Listen and repeat. Basically, I handle middle school science, and it involves a lot of grading papers.
One more time. Basically, I handle middle school science, and it involves a lot of grading papers.
Profile number 3. You work in a restaurant as a manager. Listen and repeat. Basically, I handle the front of house staff, and it involves a lot of putting out small fires.
Let me quickly explain that idiom. Putting out small fires doesn't mean you're a firefighter. It's a very common business idiom that means you spend your days solving small, urgent problems that constantly pop up. Let us repeat that sentence. Basically, I handle the front of house staff, and it involves a lot of putting out small fires.
You're doing incredibly well. Now it's time for the ultimate test. It's time to run the party simulator.
We're going to drop you right back into the scenario from the beginning of the video. The music is playing, the room is crowded. You're feeling good.
Before we start the simulation, I want you to quickly think about your actual job. I want you to pick one thing you handle and one task that involves a lot of your time. Take a second to fill in the blanks in your mind. Basically, I handle blank, and it involves a lot of blank.
Do you have your 2 blanks filled in? Good. Remember, you don't need to explain your entire career. Just pick the most obvious action you do and the most common daily task you face. Keep it simple, keep it conversational.
I am going to play the role of the friendly stranger. I am going to walk up to you, smile, and ask you what you do. As soon as I finish asking the question, a 7-second countdown timer will begin. You have 7 seconds to look right at the screen and deliver your personalized action-first formula out loud.
Take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. You do not need to panic anymore because you are not relying on a boring noun. You have a dynamic, engaging answer ready to go. You are going to sound completely natural.
Here we go. The music is loud. People are laughing. I walk over to you, I hold up my cup, and I smile. Oh, hey, it is so nice to meet you. So, what do you do?
Time is up. How did that feel? Did you get the words out? Did you remember to use basically I handle? Did you remember to use the ing verb after involves a lot of?
If you stumbled or if you froze, do not worry at all. That is exactly why we practice. You can rewind this video and run the simulator as many times as you need to until your answer flows out of you perfectly smoothly.
I promise you, the first time you use this formula in a real-life conversation, you're going to feel a massive wave of relief. Instead of seeing the other person's eyes glaze over with boredom, you will see them nod in understanding. They will probably smile, and they will immediately have a comment or a question about your daily tasks. You will have successfully navigated the hardest part of small talk.
You have transformed a moment of social panic into an opportunity for human connection. You have stopped translating textbook nouns and started communicating real-life verbs.
To make sure you really have this locked in, I want to challenge you right now. Go down to the comments and type out your exact formula. Write out, basically, I handle blank, and it involves a lot of blank. Putting it in writing is the final step to making it permanent in your mind.
We will read through the comments and help you check your grammar to make sure your daily tasks are phrased perfectly. Once you have left your comment, your next step is to learn how to end a conversation. Go watch our video on how to politely exit a conversation so you know exactly what to say when you are finally ready to leave the party. See you next time!